In this video, I'm going to be talking to you about my property portfolio. I'm going to be telling you exactly how much money I make on a percentage basis and also on a monetary value. I'll be breaking down them from a buy-to-let perspective, from a lending perspective, and also some of the commercial properties that I have ownership of and exactly how much money they yield. We'll be looking at the nitty-gritty numbers and explaining them a lot further. So the first property I want to talk about is one of my properties. It's a buy-to-let, valued at £1.1 million. It's a great property that I own. The tenants are there for 2 years, scheduled to be in there for 2 years. They're paying currently a rental yield of £4,075. That's how much they pay. I have a complete hands-off approach to managing this. So we have a management agency that looks after that. I pay them 5% of the rent. They look after everything from all of the contracts, everything along those lines, collecting the money, making sure if there's any communication problems or issues with the property, then the management company will deal with it. They've been absolutely fantastic. I can't complain. So with that, they take a 5% fee. That works out to be about £244.50. You can see here. And then that leaves me with £3,830.50 in the bank every single month. So that is fantastic. That is my income one from one of my buy-to-lets. Fantastic property and overall great return. Lately, I've been doing some different types of property investments. I didn't want to put too much money down on different properties, so I then turned to Tab, who's a fantastic company to do investments with into properties. So I'm going to walk through my portfolio with them and how much I get from a yield in that perspective. So here you can see me on my Tab dashboard. You can see that my portfolio value is 400,000. You can see that January there was 300,000 invested. That was within the properties below. I'll talk about these a little bit further. And these are all based on lending. So I'm lending individuals money and getting a yield back with the capital secured against the property. I then also have another investment that should be paying out from March, which you can see I've clicked the tab, property tab. And overall, this is Travelodge Chigwell. And I've got 100,000 invested into the Travelodge Chigwell. So we'll be talking about that as well. So overall, there's 400,000 in cash that I've invested into 4 different properties. Now let's break down what the yield is, how that looks, and how much money I'll be making. So overall, from the 300,000 that's on lending, you can see here that I've got an annualized ROI of 9.675%. In January, I made £2,671. Cannot complain with that on a 300,000 investment. But let's break down exactly what that equates to, what I'm investing in. So there's a property within Hackney, 100,000 invested. The interest rate is 10.31%, completed in the end of November. And you can see that the interest I'm getting paid is £859 per month. That gets paid into my bank account on the 10th of every single month. Now let's explore this a little bit further and have a look at the property and see what I'm actually investing in. So we click here on Hackney. You can see here that Hackney is fully funded. I'm actually quite a large holder in the loan amount. The total loan on Hackney is 230,000. Mine's 100,000 of that, so I would say I was quite high on it. Loan to value, so if you want to understand a little bit more about loan to value, you can see the ratio of debt to asset value expressed as a percentage. So that's talking about basically how much is the loan to the value of the property. The term is 12 months, so I get 12 monthly repayments on the 10th every single month, and you can see security here says first charge. What does that mean? It's the order of priority a lender has for a repayment of their loan if the borrower was to default. So basically that means that, you know, on that property, if my money is not getting paid to me, then Tab can go in, change the locks and keys, and pretty much put the property to auction to recoup my money that is secured against that property. This means that it's quite safe in that respect, and ultimately from the history of working with Tab, I haven't seen this happen, and talking to Tab is quite a rare occurrence to happen because they've done all these background checks on the individuals that are doing it. And obviously having the security of the property is just another factor. And then what comes along with this is you can then sort of see like the terms, you can see what the total rates are, the loan amounts, total valuation of the property, the investor return here as well, and then the valuation of the documents that we can get. You can see that, you know, the exit here for the individual, selling of the shop, the client has listed the property on Zoopla, the agent marketing the property is Caden Properties. So you can see all of that, you can see what the exit plan is. Now the beauty of this is it's pretty much hands off. I don't need to worry about it. I've not visited the property. You know, Tab have done all of these background checks for me, and overall I just literally get the payment in my bank on the 10th of every single month. So that's the Hackney property. Overall, I have a loan out. It's on there now until the end of November 2024. Every single month that is going to produce £859 for me in my back pocket. I cannot complain with that. The money would have just been sat there not doing anything. The risk is very minimal with the loan to value being absolutely fantastic. So let's now have a look at the Newcastle property. This Newcastle property, you can see here on the dashboard, produces £906.25 with a 10.87% return. And you can see that that one ends at the end of October as well in 2024. So plenty of time there on that loan to continue producing this fantastic income. So let's have a look at my thought process of why I invested into this loan. This is a much bigger loan, so I'm a much smaller sort of like shareholder, I suppose, if you want to put a contributor towards this loan. So Tab is lending £3.4 million secured against a semi-commercial 30,000 square foot building. Absolute huge. The borrower received 2.4 million of their facility in October to refinance the debt taken to purchase the asset and to finish refurbishment works. Since then, the works have been completed and been signed off by builder control. The units are now fully let to students and the rental being achieved is £73,000 per month. So that's fantastic. So obviously from a lending perspective, if they've got to do a repayment on that, then I suppose a lot of that's coming back as well from their monthly rent that they're receiving anyway. The term is 10 months and the loan to value is below 60%. Fantastic. And again, we've got first charge on the property. You can see a little bit more about the property here with the images. So you can sort of see the sort of student accommodation sort of feeling that you get from it. So you can see the loan was 3.4 million against a total valuation of 5.92 million. Again, very, very tidy. We can also see, let's have a look at some of this. We can see the valuation here on the PDF. So let's have a look at the valuation document here. You can see it's done by Knight Frank, so very respected. See a lot more information about the property. You can literally look at absolutely everything, you know. This is the beauty of having Tab though. They go through and do the whole thing for you. So you see that total full-time students as well. So talking about from an area, students enrolled as well. So here you can see obviously the rental comparables as well for this deal. So looking at different areas, you know, how much they cost, the studios, tenancy length. So there's a huge amount of research that goes into every single deal behind this at Tab, which just makes it, again, a lot more attractive, a lot more secure, putting money exactly where we know it's going to be continually returning on the 10th every single month. And from a safety perspective, it's very, very low risk. So you can see absolutely everything on here, from all of the financials of the terms, the valuations, the months deducted, the loan amount, loan to value, security, the investor return, even stuff down to like refurbishment reports. You know, we can see a little bit more about the actual product that we're investing in if we wanted to. So we can see a little bit more about the cost, the budget, the drawdown, work insurances, all of this sort of information. You know, what's the risk rating, total duration, there's absolutely everything. You know, all the builder controls companies. To be honest with you, all of this information is not something that I need to go through and dig through. This is why I invest into Tab. They get to do that whole thing for me, and overall I get a nice pretty summary here on the financials that tells me. Now, one of the things that I look for is obviously I like to see a low loan to value on a property. The lower it is, the more I feel that it's more protected, it's safer, and obviously the higher return that I can get on a percentage basis. the more return I get, the happier I am. And obviously with interest rates higher now, how they're going to look in 12 months time, you know, we're sort of factored in 0.25% percentage cuts. That's 0.75% potentially over the next 12 months. Locking in now at this high percentage for the next 12 months and achieving, you know, a staggering 10.87%. It's going to look a lot better when rates drop in 12 months time, and that's utilizing that benefit of the loan here. Now, let's have a look at my last one. This one earns exactly the same amount, £906.25. So let's have a look at this property here. So you can see where this one is in London. The loan to value on this one is amazing, very nice, 48%. That's fantastic. The loan amount, securities first charge, we've got a term here of 14 months, 10.88%. We can see more inside the property. You can see TAB are funding the conversion and development of a mixed-use asset, forming 2 commercial units, and the upper floors benefits from planning to convert the existing office space to 2 residential flats, along with expansion of a 3rd flat. Once completed, these flats will be sold on the open market. So again, you can see all of this information. You can see the loan amount being $1,488,000. You can see the loan to value here. You can see all of the terms and everything else. It's all really, really straight to the point of what you look for when you're investing. You can see the report and valuation. So let's have a look. It's done by Savills. We all know who Savills are. So this just shows you all the information that you need to see about the property, from the location, what the plans are, the proposed accommodation that they plan on building, and ultimately the loan is funding that work, and then it will increase its valuation as a property, and they'll refinance it with a bank, or in this case sell those flats, release that money and repay back the loan. It's quite simple when you look at it from that way, and this is ultimately what you're funding. So overall, those are the 3 properties that I have within TAB. These are called loans. So these are lending money to building developers, people that are refinancing, exiting properties, wanting to release equity whilst they wait for the property to sell, lots of different reasons. But if we look at now the TAB property, this is actual ownership. So on TAB property, I actually own part of Travelodge Chigwell. So this here is fantastic. Return per annum is 8.6%, but with the capital gains, you can see here overall projected return is 10.12%. So you can see here you've got a high yield opportunity earning 7.62% paid monthly, and in capital growth of 2.5% that is released on the exit, which will be 5 years. So overall you can see, look, term is 5 years. This again, fantastic, locking in this percentage yield. Having a tenant such as Travelodge that's got such a high yielding payment, and obviously Travelodge isn't going anywhere. They make millions and millions of pounds, so having a tenancy that's tied into a contract for a long period of time is obviously very valuable from a tenancy perspective as well. So overall projected return is over 10% literally per annum, which again is fantastic that we're looking at. So you can see here, look, the purchase price. You can see the cost in doing so, the listing fee, the reserve fund, total investment amount, and you can see the rental breakdown here as well of exactly how much money I make. And overall, the best part about this again is you can see here that they've got their management fee, reserve fund. If there's any problems, TAB is going to be dealing with it. They're not going to be phoning up me to go around and sort a problem out. So again, this is all hands-off management. It's all very easy. You get to choose your property, choose the amount of money that you want to put in, from £1,000 all the way up into the millions. And overall, you get the same percentage return, whether you're a £1,000 investor or a £1 million investor. And this is fantastic from a diversification perspective, and being able to put 100,000 here, which is what I'm doing in each different property, and get an overall great return. So when we look at this, like projected returns on my Travelodge investment, you can see that we're looking at 10.12%. So overall we've had a breakdown there of 5 different properties. That's 4 with TAB, 1 of mine that's buy to let. I do have my Samuel & Co commercial office, which is what we use, so I don't rent that out at all. We are the tenants on that one, and I do have another property as well that's currently not yielding. But overall, this is exactly how I make £7,345 every single month, hands off, not having to worry about looking after these properties and not having to worry about any issues or anything along those lines. Every single month on the 10th, I get paid £7,345. I cannot complain. So guys, this was a review into my finances behind some of my properties, what they yield, what they make. Be sure to go and check out Tab at Tab HQ. And obviously, if you have any questions, get in the comments. I'm gonna be doing a lot more videos on my personal finances, what I invest in and how I invest in it. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you thumbs up, comment and subscribe.